Good evening, Internet, and welcome back to Bloodstone, a Four Dads 5th edition D&D campaign set in the Forgotten Realms. I'm 8-BitPonies. I am your Dungeon Master, and if you have not seen the stream in a while, well, you are in for a bit of a treat. It is, we've got a little bit of a visual update here. Made some changes to the visuals for our D&D stream. And beyond that, we're coming back off of an unplanned 2-week hiatus after one session back after our planned 8-week hiatus. And we're coming off of a little bit of a cliffhanger. So be prepared for some shenanigans of the highest order this evening. We're happy to have everybody back. Welcome to anyone and everyone who is out there in internet land enjoying the stream with us this evening. Hello to the cast. Fellas, how are you doing? We are unfortunately once again without Sprout, aka Drog, as he is traveling with work once again. We're still trying to work out specifics to get him here as often as possible, even through his travels. But we will continue on in his stead. Anyway, before we get started with tonight's game, a couple of minor announcements. We will be continuing with our Thursday stream this week, our Era Apocalypse stream at the normal scheduled time. Our Friday Night Fights stream on Friday will be preempted by our very first ever sponsored stream. The folks at Big Time have offered to sponsor us playing their new MMO that they've released, or that they're getting ready to release. It's currently in pre-release or pre-season, and we're really excited to check that out with them and play that new MMO, also named Big Time. More information to come on that here in the next day or so. Be prepared. Keep an eye on our Discord for more information about our sponsored stream and what you can do to help make that stream the best that it can possibly be. Namely, come and play with us. The folks over there are providing us with a number of access keys for members of the stream who want to come in and play as well. And we will be providing those within the coming days, leading up to Friday night's big sponsored Big Time stream. No stream this Saturday. We will not be streaming. So I take that back. There's a distinct possibility that we will not be streaming on this Saturday. It is still show week. My daughter and my wife are embroiled in the theater this week. Their last evening show is this coming Saturday, and I will be attending. And there's a possibility that I won't make it back in time for stream. If I do, hey, bonus, we get an extra stream, and it will be our normal Saturday, Summoner's Rift Saturday. If you haven't been joining us on Mondays for our Starfleet Battles Academy stream, you are really missing out. Bennett and Olives put forth a very valiant effort last night in the Western Powers Battle Part 2. They certainly had a better showing this time around with their Kazini and Hydran ships versus my Lyran ship. And if you're not familiar with what that is, Starfleet Battles is a tabletop role-playing game, or not role-playing game, tabletop tactical shooter game with heavy strategy elements and set in the world of Star Trek, where you fly starships of varying races and empires and fight for dominance. And it's a lot of fun. It has been a really interesting ride with Bennett and Olives. And we're looking for new players to learn the game all the time. So if you're interested in that, check out our VODs on YouTube. Come check us out on Monday nights, and maybe you'll want to join in. And then, of course, hopefully next week at the same time, we'll be back for more Bloodstone, assuming that we don't wind up with a TPK this evening. With announcements completed, we will go ahead and dive into tonight's festivities. When last we left our intrepid group of adventurers, the the party's over, folks. Eldrick has ascended to the barony. He completed the ceremony of his coronation and was crowned His Excellency Baron Eldrick Oaks, 28th Baron of Morov. The ceremony was it was something else, and unfortunately for the party, it was while it was completed, the afterglow period was cut rather short. A couple of different things going on at the end of the ceremony that sort of heralds the end of the festivities. Number one, in the manor itself, Macaria has been sent to her room and was met there by a mysterious figure, initially cloaked in the guise of a little girl, a young human toddler girl, who then revealed another form, that of thoros'l, Macaria's former teacher and master. What that may portend, we are not quite sure yet, but you can be certain that we will find out. And then out in the party proper, the cheers and salutations and celebration of Eldrick's ascension were cut somewhat short by a strange figure bursting out of the doors of the manor behind Eldrick, begging him for an audience and begging for his forgiveness. Eldrick recognized this to be Nelicht, an antagonist from a powerful and frightening antagonist from many months in Eldrick's history, who has plagued the party off and on over the course of the last several months. Nelicht looked haggard. He looked a bit wild-eyed, and his demeanor, his approach to Eldrick was not at all what Eldrick might have expected from his next meeting with Nelicht. In fact,
no, not at all.
As the man staggers out from the relative gloom of the interior of Oakhart Manor and into the lights of the exterior and the party, he kind of he staggers out, his hands raised up, not quite in fists, but clenched. Eldrick notices that he's got what appears to be a scroll or some kind of parchment, not exactly held, but more like clenched in one of his fists. And he staggers out. He kind of blinks in the light. You can see that he's got several days worth of stubble on his face. His hair is all wild. He's dirty. What looks to be his fine robes are dirty and worn and torn, and the look on his face is equal parts maybe confusion and desperation. And he's got tears streaming down his face, streaking the dirt on his cheeks. And whenever he locks eyes with you, he says, "Eldrick, I have to talk to you. I have to tell you I'm sorry." And that is where we left off last time, and where we will pick up this evening. As this man begins to stagger forward again, quickly breaching the distance between himself and the newly crowned Eldrick Oaks, still with the sort of new cloak or cape draped over your shoulders and the coronet on your head. There is a a collective gasp in the crowd as people begin to begin to see what's going on, and there's a clamor as people are trying to see what is happening, see what's going on behind Eldrick, where his attention has been drawn, what the loud bang signaled when the door burst open, and there's just a general confusion as the musicians start to, the music starts to fade away, and there's just a ripple of unease, we shall say, going through the crowd. What is your first? There are three of you in the courtyard currently. What is your first instinct as this man lurches towards Eldrick?
Well, I mean, Eldrick is immediately worried about all the guests and specifically his mother, who's not far from him. So he's immediately going to yell, "Guards, make safe the courtyard!" And he's going to move to Nelict as fast as possible, with the intention of putting hands on the man. Not necessarily roughly, but he is going to impede him moving forward or away from him.
Okay. What about thoros'l? Thoros'l, what are you doing?
Oh man, what is thoros'l doing?
Probably ninja throwing two swords directly into that guy's face.
Sort of doing that, yes. I'm also going to move towards him. I'm probably a little bit further away.
You still have the goo on your eye?
I do still have the goo on my eyes.
You do indeed. All right. And
But
Alanir.
if this is another mind thing, I don't know that the goo helped. But
yeah, but he threw the doors open.
Yeah, the fact that the crowd is reacting to it as well makes me think it's real. So I'm in for it. I'm gonna rush over there as well.
As you rush past, you were very recently, or you very recently had a brief sort of interlude with Miranda, and your eyes kind of dart over to her, knowing that she is a companion and that she also knows this guy, and she looks absolutely shocked. The rest of the party, as you're kind of moving forward, the rest of the people in the celebration don't seem to be afraid necessarily, more just startled perhaps, or curious and uneasy as this. They're all focused on Eldrick, and then something is going on behind him. There's a man there shouting, and things are starting to kind of unravel a little bit. Alanir, you have just seen Mykaria off. She was going to go up to try to find her altar or her double. Apologies, guys. My throat is still just is not well. So I apologize if I'm constantly clearing it. But you've just seen Mykaria off. You turn back around and you're deciding what you're going to do with the rest of the party. And then the ceremony begins. You see Eldrick actually crowned. And then you too are aware. I don't know that you actually met or seen Nelict in person as you joined the party a bit late. Excuse me for just a second, guys. There we go. Sorry about that. I don't think that you've actually ever met Nelict, though you know him certainly by reputation. You may not actually recognize the man that you see. You see and you hear him shouting. You hear him say the word Eldrick, and Eldrick seems to be very, very intent on this man. thoros'l starts to spring into action, so you do detect a ripple of potentially danger as this disruption to the party begins.
All right. Well, there's plenty of people between me and him. Alanir's immediately going to start looking towards, glancing around, like to the other entranceways and even do a quick glance up in the air, thinking that this might just simply be a distraction.
Okay, go ahead and make me a perception check. That's a good call.
All right.
I was thinking it might be the same, but thoros'l isn't thinking that. That's for sure.
The funny thing is, there's a world where this crazy-looking, insane wizard fits the description of Cephas Dwindon just enough that Alanir's like, oh, yeah, it's the guy who did the translations. Although I think he was there for that, wasn't he?
He was there for that.
Yeah. So I got a 12 total
12
on
total.
perception.
So you're glancing around.
Fantastic.
What'd you roll, a 2?
A 2.
Yes.
So you're glancing around. You're seeing basically the same thing that I explained to thoros'l. You see that everybody's eyes are on whatever is going on in the northeast corner of the courtyard around Eldrick, and there are people. It's clear that people are disturbed by the interruption, and that there's some people that are startled, but you don't necessarily note. You don't see anything above. You don't see anything besides the guards starting to move into position to do exactly what they were just ordered to do. You see a number of soldiers or guards in Oak's livery that are starting to make their way into the courtyard from various other parts of the manor, and they're very quickly moving to kind of move into the exits, all the entrances and exits to the courtyard to secure the area like they were just told. Other than that, you don't see anything else that necessarily draws your attention. Eldrick, as you begin to move, into the, you start moving towards this man. He lurches forward and, with his hands still kind of twisted into like half fists, just lunges at you, and he's attempting to put his hands on you. Are you going to let him?
Well, I'm attempting to put hands on him too, so we're probably just going to meet in the middle and grab each other.
Right,
is my guess. I mean,
you go to grab him by the shoulders, and he just engulfs you around the waist, and like it's like a great big bear hug. And he grabs a hold of you. You put your hands on his shoulders and look to steady him, but he feels stronger than he looks, and he just grabs you around the waist, and his body is against yours, and he begins sobbing, and he just holds you, his head against your chest, with his arms just very tightly clenching around your sides and your back, and he is just sobbing. He says, "I'm sorry. I have to tell you, Eldrick, I'm sorry."
This is Nellict, right? This looks like Nellict. Even this close up, I'm not seeing any facade or anything.
You don't see any sort of facade, but you can make me either an insight or a perception check.
Oh, you better flip and believe I'm making an insight check.
Okay.
Let me pull up them there dice. That will be if I can hit the enter button, that'll be a 24, 17 on the die. 24.
24.
Insight.
He certainly looks very much like, well, he looks very much not like Nellict. All of the physical features match what you recall. It's probably been 3 or 4 months since the last time you stood in Nellict's presence. But something is definitely off. Not so much that this is a facade or this is some kind of disguise or some kind of trick, but nothing about this man says to you, this is the Archmage of the Citadel of Assassins, the most feared man in the Bloodstone Kingdom. He is the first thing you recognize, he absolutely reeks. He smells awful. Sweat, probably urine, and body odor. He smells dirty. He looks dirty. Again, all the facial features, all of the, with the exception of how kind of thin and emaciated he seems, and apart from just being dirty and completely off as far as personality, this appears 100% to be Nelict.
What the hell is Durbin doing at this? Because I'm pulling up short with my sword half out, and I'm about ready to cut somebody until he's crying. But what's Durbin doing?
Cut somebody till he's crying.
As he sees you approach, Durbin very quickly grabs Madeline around, like at the shoulder and at the elbow, and pulls her close to him and starts to move her in the opposite direction. She is kind of startled by this, makes to reach for Eldrick, but he strong arms her away. And,
solid choice.
And they start in this direction. Quillen looks to you. He looks concerned, but he doesn't look afraid or on alert until he sees you coming and the look on your face, and then he looks guarded and he turns back to see what is this. There are 2 Oaks guardsmen who are currently trying to get up off the ground in the same vicinity. Everybody else starts kind of edging away, with the exception of Mervis Tallboy and Elijah Constantine, who are moving to follow you, Eldrick. So Quillen kind of takes a step back. Tallboy and Constantine form up with you, and they're not reaching for weapons, but they're certainly on alert as they see you move, and I imagine you have a hand on a sword at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Eldrick is going to attempt to bodily move this man back into the manor, and while he's doing so, we're going to come together. He's going to bear hug me. I'm going to grab him around the shoulders, and then I'm just going to keep walking him into the manor if I can. Why are you here?
He just, for the few seconds that it takes you to push him back through the doors, and you're stepping over guardsmen to do so, and you see that there are another trio of guardsmen, a guardsman and 2 Narbles who are coming up behind him, who are attempting to get out to where you are, and they stop as they see you pushing him in, and you push him through the doors, and he's just he's holding onto you, just clutching onto you like he is a drowning man, and you are the last lifeboat off the Titanic. He's other than that, though, he is almost completely limp in your arms. His face is against your chest, and he is just sobbing his eyes out, just over and over saying how sorry he is. So you push your way.
Am I okay to stay close?
Yeah. You stick there with him. There's a quick. You hear behind you, Alanir. Actually, before that, is there anything additional that you want to do? You see, Durbin, Holy, and Madeline rushing very quickly your way. Both looking concerned, both looking confused, and frightened. But Holy makes eye contact with you and gestures toward Madeline.
Kind of like a get her out of here type motion?
Or that he's bringing her your way. Yes.
Okay.
They continue forward until they're close, and he will turn as he sees that you are in close proximity. He will turn to address the rest of the party, and he will say, in his very calm, very but also very commanding voice, say, "Esteemed guests, we have had an unexpected guest arrive. There's nothing to be afraid of. This is an invitee by His Excellency that we were uncertain would be able to arrive. This is most irregular, most unexpected, but there is no cause for alarm. Please give His Excellency some room, and I'm certain he will rejoin the party momentarily. But please, do not do not feel any need for alarm. His eyes say a completely different story, but even he looks as though he's not entirely certain what is happening right now.
That makes 27 of us.
Anything in particular you want to do, Alanir?
I'm guessing, did I guess Madeline and or he stepped away from her, more or less?
Well, not so much.
Address the crowd.
He kind of pushed her toward you and then turned to face the crowd, but he didn't step away. He's not physically holding on to her anymore, but he is still standing very protectively close.
All right. Because I think I'm right there at that doorway to that stairwell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna basically get back to that door and kind of like put a hand on it, like if they continue coming this way, to basically open it so they don't even have to stop.
Got it. Okay, so yeah, you back this direction. Madeline comes with you, and Holy will continue to back towards you, even as he is addressing the rest of the crowd. There are now 2 guardsmen that are standing on either sides, or in front of both of those doors, and seeing that you're coming that direction and that the lady of the house is coming that direction, they quickly move to open the door for the 3 of you.
Okay. If they're planning on exiting, I'm going to go with them for more or less extra protection.
Okay. Eldrick, you finally get Nellick pushed back into the entry hall with thoros'l directly behind and 2 narbles directly in front of you. And you have no answer from your quarry. He's still just, he's kind of limp in your arms now and just sobbing onto your armor.
Out of character for a second. I love that every single character in this scene, every single icon, including the terrifying little girl down there, looks appropriately stoic for the scene, except for Alanir. Alanir looks like he is ready for a kegger. He is good to go, man. 100%. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, Eldrick will look over his shoulder to thoros'l and kind of gesture towards the hand that has the note. Get the note, and then he's gonna look back at Nellick. Where have you been, and why do you smell so bad? How did you get in the manor, actually?
Your continued
There are so many questions.
Continued questions, your barrage of questions at him don't seem to faze him in the least. He's just sobbing. He doesn't seem to even hear you. thoros'l, you are able to kind of reach around behind Eldrick, where this man's fists are clenched around. Well, one fist is clenched now completely in Eldrick's cloak, and the other one is just kind of like hammering on his back with what appears to be the remnants of some kind of crumpled piece of parchment, and like a scroll that he's just holding on to for dear life, and he's just kind of pounding on Eldrick's back as he continues sobbing.
I'll, as he's pushing him in there, I'm going to make sure he's not concealing any weapons. Try to look him over, make sure he's not got like a dagger hidden somewhere or something stupid like that.
Go ahead and make me a perception check for that.
Last thing I need him to get knifed in the armpit or something while he's getting a hug. Perception. Natural 20. 30.
You notice that apart from just the shabby disrepair of his clothing, Nellick is dressed very similarly to the last time you saw him. He's wearing his very fine robes even though they are torn and dirty and they look and smell like he's been probably in them for months. He doesn't appear to have anything. He's not even wearing shoes.
Okay.
He's wearing like a fine pair of trousers, or they were fine before they've been basically destroyed. And a kind of a loose fitting silk, like stained silk shirt, and an overrobe that looks like similar to the last time that you saw Nelix out in the wilderness as he was menacing your party. But other than that, he doesn't seem to have anything. Just the scroll clutched in his hands, and nothing at his belt, or nothing obvious like stuffed in like a pocket or on his person anywhere.
Does he look like torn up? Does he look like he's been cut or burned or singed or anything? Or does he just look like he's been rolling through the ditch somewhere? Like,
he just looked like he's been on an all-night bender for maybe the last month.
Yeah.
And like he's it's very possible that he's slept in the gutter more nights than one. His clothing is torn, but it doesn't look like necessarily that he's like injured or anything like that. There's no blood necessarily. His hands and his face are dirty. His hair is wild and it's also dirty. His clothing is dirty, but it looks more like it's just worn and torn from hard use rather than having been in any sort of like physical altercation.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll snag. Giving him the quick once over, I'll snag that parchment and see what it says.
You take it from his hand, and as you do so, you get it free of his hand, and as you like pull it away from him, he like shouts "No!" and pushes back away from Eldrick and trips over one of the chairs at the dining table and falls to the floor, and is just sprawled out backwards over the floor, and he's just shouting, "No! I have to give it to Eldrick!" And it looks almost as though in his rage or in his sorrow, he's almost in convulsions. You pull it away, and it's dirty, it smells, and it's just like a large single sheet of parchment that is just wadded and creased, and just big clump of parchment.
Right. Well, the last thing I'm doing is giving this to Eldrick. I'm not doing that. This mad wizard guy wants Eldrick to have it is not going to happen until I look at it.
All right, so you start.
So I'll try to open it or whatever.
You start trying to smooth it out, and you see on one side it's mostly blank, but on the other side there's what appears to be scrawled in like very messy letters, like just writing all over the inside of it, and there's even like some crude, what appears to be some crude drawing, and it takes you a moment as he's just throwing a tantrum on the floor, and looking at you in horror and rage. You open it up, and it appears to be it's as though perhaps a child with maybe like charcoal or something of the like has drawn maybe a crude kind of a stick figure with a frowny face, and the words in large, very very messy, a large very messy hand. I am sorry I made you sad.
There's nothing hidden in this. Nothing like
you have the magical ointment of true seeing on your eyes, and you see nothing other than a crude drawing of a stick figure with a frowny face, and the words "I am sorry I made you sad."
I'll hand it to Eldrick. Confusion, just confusion.
As thoros'l is kind of checking out the note before he hands it to Eldrick, Eldrick's going to stop, like he's listening, and he's going to use Divine Sense to detect any The location of any celestial, fiend, or undead within 60 feet that is not behind total cover.
You detect none.
Do I detect any objects that have been consecrated or desecrated in the area?
You do not.
Okay. I'll take the note from thoros'l and reach down.
As you take it in your hand, he kind of rights the ship to somewhat, gets on his hands and knees, and scuttles over to you and throws himself around your legs, and is still just shouting and crying. I'm sorry, Eldrick. I'm so sorry. You have to forgive me, Eldrick. Please forgive me, and just sobbing.
Eldrick is going to look to thoros'l. This seems like a distraction, and he's going to grab Nellick roughly, just to make sure that he can't get away, and he's going to use cleansing touch on him to end one spell that is on him. I don't know of any spells that are on him, so just whatever the top thing on the stack is what we're trying to affect here. Note that he does have to be willing, so I don't know if he's willing or not.
Okay, I'm checking the cleansing touch is the level 14 paladin ability.
It's a little beefy.
End one spell on yourself or one willing creature that you touch. You do not feel so as you are focusing your virtue or your power into this man. You feel the build up of Ilmater's power begin to flow into him, but you feel nothing happen.
Well, that's not what I was hoping for. I'm going to look at the picture on the note, flip the note over. Do I see anything different than what you described to thoros'l?
You do not. It's just a dirty piece of parchment. Doesn't appear to have been anything before it was this. It's not like he wrote over something or anything like that, or the author wrote over anything. It's just a wadded up, dirty piece of parchment with a stick figure and the words, "I am sorry, I made you sad."
Well, the Eldrick's still holding Nellick by the shoulder, who's apparently wrapping around my legs. Yes. Eldrick's going to look down at him, and I'm going to use my gift from the Annulus to, I don't think I can shout in telepathy, but I'm going to hit him with my telepathy message ability, and into his head I'm going to yell, how did you make me sad?
He reacts as though you struck him. Like, he stops and he starts, and his eye, he like stops crying for a moment. His eyes go wide. He flinches backward and he looks up at you. It's just in abject terror. He said, "I don't even know."
Who are you? He'll say this out loud. Who are you?
He's panting. He's got some semblance of, I don't want to say control, but he is calmed to some degree, and he's not just in the throes of his tantrum. He kind of rocks back on his hindquarters a little bit as he's down on his knees, and he looks and I don't know. Who am I? Who am I, Eldrick?
How do you know me if you don't know who you are?
I know that I have to tell you that I'm sorry that I made you sad. And he begins to cry a little again, a little bit, not quite as much as he previously was. I just I'm sorry, and he like tries to grab at your hands, and he's just basically trying to plead with you over and over again to forgive him.
Well, in that case, then Eldrick will look to him. God dang it. Switch to Helen here for a second. I need a moment to think.
Alanir, you push through the doorway in the lead with Madeline and Durbin Holy in tow, or at least that's what you intend. You step into the stairwell that leads up to the second floor. Madeline comes with you, and then the doors kind of close behind, leaving Durbin outside, and you can still hear his voice raised. He's still speaking to the crowd. Madeline kind of pulls you to a little bit of a stop, and she said, Alanir, I need to know what is happening. Who was that man? What does he want with Eldrick?
I don't know what he wants per se. I've only heard about him by reputation. If it's who I think it is.
Who is it that you think it is? I need to know. Is Eldrick in danger? Did you just say Nelict? You mean...
Yes.
Her face goes completely pale, her eyes go wide, and she looks back at the door, and her jaw is just slack. She says, No, that's not possible. That Nelict?
I believe so.
Tears begin to start forming. And we left Eldrick alone with him? What are you thinking? You have to get to him. You have to get to him now. Go.
What about you? From my experience, there's always more of them.
The thought occurs to her, as though it's an entirely new idea. She kind of starts a little bit. She looks up at the stairs, that you're on. But we have defense. We have guards. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Alanir, what do we do?
Let's get you somewhere safe. Where's the safest room for you in this place? We'll get you there, and then I will go to Eldrick.
My chambers, or Titus's office. There are more wards there than anywhere else in the manor. Take me there.
All right. And I will... Let's see.
The only way to get there from here is to go up the stairs, through Macaria's room, and then back down the stairs on the other side of Macaria's room, so that you can cross through the dining chamber. Okay. Neither of those is a good way. Like, you're on the wrong side of the manor to try to get there. You could go back out into the courtyard and go around that way, but the only way. So you're currently right here. If you go back down, yes, you could go in through the garden and then up, but you're still going to have to go through the dining chamber to get up to that part of the manor. Unless you take a less conventional route, like through the air.
That's true. Let's go ahead and cut through Macaria's chambers up on the second floor.
Okay.
We'll go that route.
Great. So then that takes us to, as you guys are heading up the stairs, Eldrick's trying to figure out what the hell he's supposed to do with this situation for himself.
Well, I'm ready whenever you are, buddy.
Well, we should probably check in on Macaria.
Sure. Oh yeah, with the other big bad.
So when we last left off Macaria, she had just 1 second. I have to make a move here. we look back in on Makaria as she stands in her chamber. Two frozen guards, not ice frozen, but frozen as though frozen in time, standing motionless, one at the door and one just behind. She's standing with her back against the wall, and in the a few feet away from her, in the middle of the chamber, standing next to one of the frozen guardsmen, is the wizened old figure of Netheril, her master. He says, and the last thing he had said to you, Makaria, was, "The time is rapidly approaching, Resplendent One, for you to seize your destiny."
Oh, what's that? You left before you could, teach me everything. I had to, go off on my own.
Are you still upset that I was not there to hold your hand every step of the way?
Damn right.
Child, the time comes, my child, that everyone must venture out off on their own to, well, to determine, to discover what the fates have in store for them without their nursemaid. You certainly have been busy in the intervening years, though, well, perhaps you could have spent less time hiding in a library. But the fates have shepherded you in the right direction, and look at what you have become. You certainly have learned
I have,
much in my absence.
well, yes, but it seems that everything has to come back to you in some form. No matter how far I go, someone makes mention of you, even in the Underdark. So I don't know how much fate is actually here.
He laughs a bit. He says, "Well, sometimes the hand of fate must be forced." He subsumes into mist again, and whenever it coalesces for the second time, or I guess for the third time, he wears the form of Iriah Dalharan. Still in his voice, he says, "You learned a great deal from my second choice, yes? And quite an adventure that was. You've done well. You are almost ready."
And please sit. I mean, if you're taking the time to come here, you can explain. You can have a little bit more. I'm ready for another lesson.
All in good time, of course. But there's little time for lessons now. You already have most everything that you need to seize that which is to become yours. You have done well in surrounding yourself with powerful, we shall say, minions, and he switches form again, so changes into mist, and then whenever he comes back, he appears to be Eldrick. This one is your favorite, isn't he? You like this one.
He's fun to mess with for us, yes.
Indeed.
However, the one that is perhaps the most challenging to mess with.
Indeed. Well, the time for games is swiftly coming to an end. Our agents have very nearly completed gathering the necessary items of power, and your ascension is nigh. What? No, nothing additional to say? No smart response. No sarcastic comment. Perhaps it is just that you know. You can feel it. The time has come, or is swiftly arriving. We have a visitor. He is still wearing Eldrick's form. He gestures at the far door, which begins to swing inward, open, revealing the form of Mycaria standing behind. Come on in, dear. Join us. Your sister was just about to tell me about you. Well, please, don't let me stop you.
This spell didn't go off quite right.
Did it not? You wanted to create one like yourself. He gives
I
her...
wanted to create me
And so you have.
an equal.
Oh, she is more than an equal to you, my child. She is you in the truest sense. What you perhaps could have been. You've truly outdone yourself.
In the truest sense. What? Clean slate?
Absent of all these useless affectations. The raw form. She is as close as you have yet come to resplendence. But she will not be your last attempt. Oh no.
Strange question. I mean, you are kind of like a father figure. And you are wearing Eldrick's guise. And she kind of snaps a little bit with her teeth. Where's his father? Or please tell me you are not also... Yeah.
He kind of gives you... it's a very strange expression for Eldrick. It's a kind of coy, kind of half smile, like kind of teasing, taunting. Says, "Oh, you seek after a bit more experience, a bit more maturity." And the features of Eldrick begin to gray a bit, and in short order, still standing in Eldrick's armor, is clearly the face of Titus Oaks. I knew you missed me. After all. You're always seeking a father figure. Someone to impress. I just didn't think that it would be... He kind of gestures down at himself. This one. This one will only disappoint you. Ask the son. And he becomes Eldrick again. What is it that you're truly after, my child? Why sully yourself with these lesser creatures that you associate with, when you could have so much more?
Because every time I seem to get what I think is my own, others show back up. And every time I think I have gained something for myself, and as she starts kind of talking, her crown will kind of start showing up I find out that it's been manipulated, that it's not something I can use, that it's been a chain, that it's putting me back into my place. I don't want those chains, and I definitely do not want you here in my room at this moment.
Pity. Though, and our time is rapidly coming to an end. I had certainly hoped this reunion of a sorts would be a bit more, well, a bit happier. And he returns to the form of Netheril, wearing an almost sad expression, but you can see in the eyes behind it that the expression doesn't reach really into his eyes. There's those cold, hard, dead eyes of a snake behind them. You can see that he's truly enjoying this. The crown, the power that you stole in Merimedra, that was all you, my child. Yes, I laid the framework. I put the stepping stones along the way, but you had to follow them. And now that you have, oh, resplendent one, you've made me very proud. And you've made him very proud. You may just survive this yet. With the power you've stolen, well, you have significantly more to draw on when the time comes to take your rightful place at his side.
I have a feeling it's going to be a lot harder than you think, especially with, well, the one outside. He's more stubborn.
Oh, yes, I recall. He is. Well, the last time we met, he required a bit of an object lesson. I don't imagine that he's changed, if he's anything like his father. He will be dangerous, for sure, but he will not stop you. None of them will. None of them can. Your destiny approaches, resplendent one. You will be everything that you have desired. And soon. Oh, so soon. Unfortunately, he kind of glances toward Mykaria, who's standing, not entirely motionless, but not. She hasn't stepped in very far past the doorway. She kind of reacts as though she's heard something behind her, but she finds it very, very difficult to take her eyes off of the man standing across from you. There's something in her eyes that there's almost a hunger there. But she kind of startles, and she hears something behind. And Mercari, you hear it as well. You hear voices, footsteps approaching from down the hall, or perhaps in the other room. And he says, "Unfortunately, it appears that our time has come to an end. It has been so good to see you, my girl. I will see you again soon. Once this has reached its culmination, once all the pieces are in play, we will meet once more. I have long sought and looked forward to that day. You should as well, as it marks the beginning of something entirely new for you and for all of us." When he stops and he gets that coy look on his face again. Well, perhaps I've already said too much. I shouldn't reveal all of the surprises.
Yes, my father can't make too big of an entrance, right?
Oh, if only. If only you knew. Be well, my child. We shall meet again quite soon. He begins to kind of sublimate into mist once more. Says, hold tight to that crown. It may see you through this yet. And the mist completely fades out of you. I need to take a step away, so bear with me just a second, guys. We'll be right back to wrap up our session for this evening after, well, I'd say these messages, but it's not exactly that. After a short pause. Be right back. And welcome back. Thank you for sticking with us here through the break. We're going to get right back into the action here momentarily. Still waiting on Simrith to return / Alanir, but we're going to go ahead and get back into the action here. As the last tendrils of the white mist that was the form of Netheril dissipate from the room. Macaria, you're kind of staring into the place where he was just standing, and the soldier, the guardsman standing next to that spot says, "What are you going? What's?" And he, at that moment, he recognizes Macaria, or Mycaria rather, standing in the room. Huh? What? Oh, it's just the other one. How did... He looks really confused and alarmed, and he takes a full step backwards and reaches for his sword. The woman turns to face you as well. Says, What's going on? How did she get in here?"
She got in here the same way the person who got out of here just left, through magic. Actually, she came through the door. And I am going to start walking towards Mycaria and slap her in the face.
She takes the hit, and her eyes are still fixed on the point where he was just standing. Like, you smack her across the face, and she registers the hit, but it takes her a full beat, maybe two, before she turns to you and says, "Sister, have I angered you?"
Consider it a warning to not make me angry.
She kind of gives you a nod, her eyes never really leaving yours, and there's something there now.
Yeah.
Something deeper than just the empty sort of shell that she previously was. There's something residing behind those eyes now. No, it's not exactly malice necessarily, but it is definitely
Intent.
there is some intent there for sure. She says, and she nods. She doesn't say anything. There's a trickle of black that starts to come out of the side of her lip, where perhaps she cut herself with her teeth whenever you smacked her. She reaches up and dabs at it, looks at it, and gives you a very slight nod again.
Promises?
I shall endeavor to be careful then.
Yes. Promises are easily taken away, especially by others. Why are you up here?
That's what I'd like to know, says the soldier that's standing very nearby. The companion, Alanir, requested that I come and find you.
Oh.
He says I was unnerving the guests below. You, as she says that, you hear the sound of a door opening behind her down the hall, and you see Madeline and Alanir hurrying quickly in your direction. And one moment while I retrieve Madeline and Alanir. They turn the corner at that door and rush in your direction. And when Madeline sees your face, Macaria, a kind of a light goes on. She brightens a little bit. You can see that she is very frightened. You don't know what's going on, but you can see that she is very frightened. And whenever she makes eye contact with you, a little bit of that fright goes away and becomes relief. She says, "Oh, Macaria, thank Ilmater. Are you okay? Are you safe?"
Oh, yes. It was just a small disagreement earlier, and we felt it was better I take a moment to myself. Here, come in, come in. These two fine house staff were just keeping me company until my Karia showed back up. Alan, here, bring her in, bring her in.
They come in. You move away from the door to make way. The two
Yeah.
guards kind of step away as the lady of the house comes in. She's like, "Oh, good. You two, make sure that no one is following. Makaria, we have to. You come with us, and Mykaria as well. We need to move. We need to get to Eldrick now."
Was he not just downstairs?
It's she kind of fans herself with her hands a little bit as though she's a little overwhelmed. There's danger in the house, or I think I'm Alanir. Can you? I don't.
Yeah, Alanir will pipe up. He'll say, towards Makaria, say, "This party has been crashed by a member of the Citadel of Assassins."
Oh, okay. How
That gets
about if I add to that?
That gets the attention of the two soldiers, who glance at Madeline, and she's like, Go find Master Holy. Do what he needs." And they rush out of the room. She kind of comes over to she's looking a bit faint, and she kind of grabs onto the bedpost and as though to steady herself.
Madeline, you're going to need to just take a seat. Alanir, on top of your issue, I was paid a visit by both my former master and a little girl. Both of which I think Eldrick really needs to know at this point, and I can't tell him.
The mention of the little girl makes Alanir's eyes go wide.
And that's why Makaria then kind of nods, like she doesn't know who the little girl is other than the story. Like that's.
But you see the eyes go wide, but you also see a flash of anger as well. She's here.
Not moments before your arrival.
Eldrick, did you make any mention of the little girl to your mother during the discussions that you've had about your travels?
Yes, I would have told her about the creepy undead little girl that we encountered in the mausoleum or catacombs, in the catacombs under, what was it? Ostriv was the name of the town, I think.
Correct.
The only part of those stories that I really would have left out was the stone and going north and meeting the scary armored man. I would have kind of hand waved how we got the kids back from the undead little girl. But she definitely would have been told about that, yeah.
The next sound Alanir, Makaria, and Mykaria hears is Madeline hitting the floor. She just falls right out into the floor. Just thump.
Apparently 15 years of plot was too much for her.
Well, that makes things simple. If she can just be in bed, Mykaria, would you mind keeping her company?
As you request, sister.
No.
Yes, thank
I
you.
say we need to get her someplace safe. We were heading towards Titus's office, where there's wards and whatnot.
Well, then I shall open doors for you if you would like to carry her.
Yeah, I think that's best.
Okay, so you lift
And
up.
I will open doors.
He's of course going to make sure she's breathing and still alive.
Yeah,
My favorite part is
she's very clearly still breathing. She's
passed out.
Yeah, she is passed out.
Okay, yeah. Alan Air will pick her up and try and carry her.
Okay. She heavy, but not too heavy. What's your strength? Oh, I'm looking at your strength is 12.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah.
Just happened to glance over. Yeah, she heavy. But you're able to manage.
I'm sorry, you calling my mama fat?
I'm not calling anybody fat. I'm not shaming anyone. But she's healthy, and Alanir's got noodle arms.
Fair.
Not so much
Hey,
that she's less heavy than just bulky. You try carrying a
How is that better?
You try carrying a
Look.
60-year-old woman in a ball gown down a flight of stairs. Just saying.
Doggone is
I'm
30 or
pretty
40
sure he
pounds.
just said that Oaks Manor here has 5 zip codes, and Madeline's 4 of them.
Oh no.
No, I'm not
No.
saying that at all.
Negative Ghost Rider.
I'm not saying that at all. Not even a little bit. But
Anyway, Alan here has some trouble.
it
Yeah,
is not a simple thing for you to carry Madeline, but you manage is what I'm getting at. So you're able to carefully make your way down the stairs and to the first floor. The stairwell at the bottom floor opens out into the dining chamber, and we will travel back there now. So the party still seems to be going on to some degree outside. The musicians have kicked back up. There's still chattering going on, though it seems a little bit more subdued than it previously was. Eldrick, as you're trying to figure out what to do about Nelict, Alanir and Makaria and Mykaria first burst into the room from the south, followed by Alanir with your mother in his arms. And she appears to be unconscious.
That seems problematic. Well, they're gonna arrive as Eldrick does something, just because it would be dramatic.
Okay.
This something has no per rules mechanical effect, but I'm gonna do it anyway because it sounds cool. So you get to decide what happens. Eldrick is going to kneel down and kind of grab Nellick by the shoulders and kind of hold him so that he's like about a foot away, eye level. And he is going to channel divinity, which is channel the power of his god into whatever's about to happen.
Okay.
And he's going to say to Nellick, who's basically been pleading with him to forgive him the whole friggin' time, for the things that you have done to this country, I cannot absolve you. But for the things that you have done to me, for the murder of Tana, for my part, as Ilmater is a god of taking and not a god of inflicting, I do forgive you.
His eyes like settle on yours as a moment after you begin your speech, as though it seems to take him a moment to realize that that you're directing that to him, and his eyes go just kind of wide, and it's like a child staring up at you. Like really, it's as he reacts more to your tone than to your words, and his eyes kind of settle, and he's more watching your lips moving than he is watching your face. But as you continue to speak, he seems to kind of calm, and he settles a bit. The tears stop flowing for the most part, and he seems to really just settle in on what you're saying to him. And when you get to the end, where you give him that forgiveness, there's a physical change that goes over him, that comes over him. There's all of the tension that he's been holding in his body the entire time that he's been here just seems to go out of him, and he almost just collapses onto the ground. He kind of slumps into the floor, and he's just kind of sitting in kind of a pile, and he begins to just kind of quietly sob to himself again. But a genuine smile begins to creep over his face, and as the tears continue to go down his cheeks and streak against the dirt there, he just kind of lays kind of in upon himself, still holding on to whatever, your hand or your arm, whatever he had a hold of before, just sobbing and thank you, Eldrick. Oh, thank you. And that's all that he can say. He sobs and he thanks you over and over and over. And like again, all the tension has just run out of his body, and he's just kind of in a puddle, sitting in the floor in front of you. At this moment, it is as this is happening, where you're kind of looming over him to some degree, as he's just kind of laying there in a puddle of himself, holding on to you as you're absolving him of his part in the murder of Tana. The other three party members and Madeline come into the room, or perhaps they've been standing there through your little speech. And you
Eldrick
look
look,
up. Yeah, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Eldrick looks to Elinir. Is she okay? What is going on?
I think the excitement was too much for her, and I think she just passed out.
I probably shouldn't have mentioned the little girl in front of her.
Eldrick kind of raises an eyebrow at that. Eldrick still has a good grip on Nellik's shoulders, by the way. He's not letting this man go, even if he is a sobbing mess. He'll let him kind of like lay on the floor, but he is holding on to this guy. Well, the crisis seems to be diverted here. I'm unsure what is going on, but this man here does not seem to know who he is, and seems very hell-bent on getting the absolution with which I just gave him.
How about if I say within the last minute I have been visited by both the little girl that you knew, my old mentor, and Del Haran from our trip to the Underdark. They are all here, because they are all the same person at this point. They're my old master. He is somewhere on this premises, floating about.
Eldrick is just stunned.
Drawn swords. That's I'm ready. Let's do this.
Out of character, welcome to the Scooby Squad for sharing that information.
I do want to point out that I have no idea what his end game is right now, but I am pretty sure that everything is going to be happening here with your stones, probably.
At that moment, the doors to the outside open again, and Durbin Holy, with Mervis Tallboy in tow, come into the manor, and they kind of round the corner, making eyes at thoros'l with swords drawn.
Yeah.
And they see. First, they see Eldrick with Nellik at his feet, still holding on to him as he just sobs. And he probably chooses this moment to wrap you up in a hug again if you allow him to do it. And
I will. Yep.
And
as they enter, well, I'm sorry, you're doing something.
The the sobbing begins to turn to laughing, like just
Mm.
make me an
That
insight
seems
check.
bad.
Make me an insight check.
I don't wanna. I know where this
You
is
got
going.
played, son. You just
Well,
got played.
Dad.
maybe.
In this right now.
He's his own time bomb.
Yeah.
It's a 19.
Is
Mhm.
as odd as the sound is, it appears to be the genuine laughter of relief, or perhaps resolution of some long-held strife. It appears to be genuine. It's not a sinister laugh or anything of that nature. It appears to be
You're not cutting the session with him laughing maniacally.
no,
Not like he's
Not
about
yet.
to go Gale on us.
He just leans in, whispers into Eldrick's ear, "Fireball." All right. Eldrick is going to look back to the people who just entered. You need to get Sebastian Killian in here immediately. And that.
All right, so they step in. You say that. Holy nods at you and looks to Tallboy. Tallboy's eyes are on the fellow at your feet,
I bet they are.
and he looks at all points shocked, confused, and very angry. He begins to take a step forward, and then Holy puts a hand kind of on his chest and says, "His Excellency asked you a question, or made a request, Chief Magistrate." And Tallboy kind of shakes the moment, looks at Holy, looks back at Nelict, and then looks at you. And there's a moment that passes between the two of you, saying that says, in no uncertain terms, we are going to have a discussion about this post haste. And then he gives you a bow, a salute, and then turns and leaves the room.
When we have that moment, the look on Eldrick's face is, "I'm as confused as you are, buddy." But
Holy makes his way
also
across the
a
room.
recognition. Mm-hmm.
Holy skirts Nelict and the pile of Nelict and Eldrick. Eldricht?
I don't like the sound of that.
And makes his way over to Alanir to help with Madeline. Casting a dagger look at you as he goes by, Macaria, but only for a glance, and then his eyes are all for Eldrick's mom.
Would you mind taking her probably to where were you going to take her, Alanir, to the study?
We were headed to Titus Oak's office.
He nods. He says,
It seems the excitement was too much for her, and she fainted.
he looks at you kind of searching for a moment, as though he's not really sure what to make of it. Like there's a heat, there's a fire in his eyes for a moment as he looks at you, and then he looks down at her, and he looks back at you, and it's gone. He's back to being the butler, and he nods and he says, "Let me help you." And the two of you together make your way over to the stairwell with her in tow, and you are up and toward the study. Leaving just 5 of you in the room.
Well, Makari, you spoke of a worse threat. Where is it?
I said I was visited, and it's about. I don't know exactly where he is at the moment. He was speaking in riddles like he always does, but apparently, um, if I had to assume what was happening down in the Underdark was experiment, and we may be in for, the final product pretty soon.
Never far.
Why else would he have shown up?
Maikaria's voice kind of sounds out as you finish. She just says, "Never far."
Seriously.
Oh, and yes, he may be. No, she's just fine. Never mind.
Maikaria
Uh,
glances at her sister and then turns back to look at thoros'l. Until Eldrick starts to speak again, and then her eyes turn to him.
So you're saying that he might have had a hand in what happened to my daughter? Is that what you're saying? And I'll look at Maikaria.
Yeah, if I can guess and theorize, obviously he had a hand. He taught her something very close to what I knew. So it was either a, an experiment, a test, or part of, well, the final puzzle piece, a final plan here.
All right.
Oh, he does shapeshift a bit.
wait, what now? Says Eldrick. What do you mean
Oh yeah,
shapeshift?
he just kind of has, at least from what I saw, the ability to change his appearance through mist, very similar to what we saw, well, down with the drow.
Wait, what did we see with the drow?
When they were vampires and they like were silvery mist.
Oh, the mist part, not the transforming into people. Gotcha.
Yeah. Like so the mist, but it just transforms now.
That son of a knoll. He might be the reason I got arrested in Impulter.
Oh, I remember that.
What a jerk. So wait, you said he wants the stones?
I said he mentioned that he's bringing pieces here, so I'm assuming it's your stones.
Are we sure we
And
want to talk about this right now? And I'll point a sword at Nelict.
Nellick has
Eldrick will
gone.
look to Nellick.
He's gone quiet. He's eyes closed, just a look of bliss on his face. He almost appears asleep, but he's just will occasionally just he's nuzzling into whatever it is that is he still has a hold of you, Eldrick.
I
Yeah,
said,
he's
get,
probably nuzzling into like my knee or something because I'm still kneeling on the ground next to him.
Yeah.
get your guards to put this guy in your cellar or something, Eldrick, and let's flush out this
I'm gonna get
other creature.
Sebastian Killian to take this man and find out what is real and what is not.
I
The
mean,
wardens are much more capable than my guards of containing containing this person, even if he doesn't know who he is, which he claims to not know.
we can just take care of it right now. And I'll take a step forward and put a sword at his throat.
Eldrick will.
He's broken, Eldrick. You're not going to get anything out of him.
I don't need to get something out of him. The finest interrogators in the country, with magics that I do not have at my fingertips, are likely to get something out of him. More importantly, who brought him here and why?
You hear the sound of a throat being cleared from behind thoros'l, and Merva's tall boy is standing there again. This, pardon, Your Excellency. the warden requests your presence immediately outside. You make me a perception check. Everybody's still in the room.
Ruh-roh.
Alanir,
That's not good.
Alanir comes downstairs at this moment as well. So Alanir, you come to the foot of the stairs after having left Madeline and Durbin in the upstairs area.
Eldrick got a 16, which is nothing compared to the friggin' Eagle Eyes in this party. Jesus.
Yeah, 29 here.
25,
25.
29, 25, and then I got a
25.
16. My goodness. So
Well,
you
to be
guys can
fair-
see sound, and I'm looking at a dirty old wizard.
He smells bad.
Yeah,
Well, yes, I got a good sense of smell. 20 on that.
Those of you who are, well, all of you, even with your 16 Eldrick, you begin to hear the sound of bells outside. And
like alarm bells.
Like-
What kind of bell?
they're deep. They're very faint at the moment because you're still inside, but they're very deep and continuous. With a 29 thoros'l, it gives you a chill. You definitely feel a sense of alarm as the bells begin to sound in the distance.
Eldrick's going to get up quickly, look to thoros'l. He is more valuable alive than dead in his current state. I don't think he knows who he is, and I think we can use that to our advantage. More importantly, we need to know why he was brought here. And then he's going to head out of the door with Tallboy.
All right, so you follow Mervis Tallboy out into the courtyard, and
Yep.
Sebastian Killian is standing basically in the middle of the crowd, directly beneath the great golden tree in your courtyard, and he's saying, "Please stay together. Return to your carriages. You will be ushered to the Palace District, where you can be made safe. Move in a very careful, quiet, and orderly fashion. You will be met by soldiers of the Bloodstone Army, led by our own Lord Marshal Constantine. You are safe, but please follow instructions that you are given and do not deviate. It is very important that you allow yourselves to be led to safety." As you're stepping outside and as you're being followed by the rest of your party, Eldrick, you can clearly hear the sound of alarm bells off in the distance.
That's bad.
As you leave the room, Kemet and Lars Narble will pry Nellic off of you effectively and hold him, and essentially waiting for you to return and decide what will be done with him. But as you step out,
Gotcha.
Eldrick, you're a citizen. You have lived in Heliogopolis before. You know that there in the golden city of Heliogopolis, there are bells for every occasion. There are the temple bells at the Golden City Temple, which they sound out the hour. There are smaller bells that are in every section that can be used for any number of different things, celebrations and otherwise. The bells that you're currently hearing are deeper and lower, and they are unmistakably alarm. These bells are only ever rung if there is a grave danger to the city, either on the horizon. These are intended as they were installed in Heliogopolis during the occupation, during the wars, when there was a potential threat to the city of invasion.
Yeah, that's not stellar.
You hear you hear the last little bit of instructions being given by Sebastian Killian, and he turns to come to you as Tallboy gives you a salute and goes to join with Constantine, who are in the process of beginning to herd your guests out of the manor.
Eldrick is going to walk right up to Sebastian and say, "What do you need?"
And that is where
Not,
we'll
not,
end
not. Oh
tonight's
no!
session. He
Oh,
meets
no.
your eyes, and his face is calm, but his eyes are especially grim. And he opens
So like
his
a
mouth.
Tuesday.
He opens his mouth to tell you, to respond to you, and that is where we will end tonight's session.
Nice. Oh my goodness. Worth the wait.
Wait, this doesn't worry you?
Wait, what? Worry what?
I
Are they
mean,
sending everyone to the Palace District?
Yep.
Oh yeah,
basically
yeah. I'm
That's
pissing
not good.
my armor.
assaulted for time.
100% terrified. 100% terrified.
Thank
It's
you.
the bad.
Thank you to everybody
Right.
who came out to enjoy this session with us this evening. We hope that you will come back and join us for our other streams this week. Reminder, we'll do Air Apocalypse streams on this Thursday. We have our sponsored stream with Big Time on Friday. Come and check that out. It's sure to be at least worth a laugh. Saturday is a tentative. It is possible that we will go ahead and have our Summoner Saturday stream, but don't count on that. There is a possibility that we will just have to postpone or cancel that stream. Come back and join us next Monday for Starfleet Battles Academy, and then right back here, 8 p.m. Central on next Tuesday for more Bloodstone action. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks once again.
Yes.
We'll see you next week. Good night.
Night, everybody.